Good evening. Welcome back to the Ask Me Anything with Dr. Twyman. I'm a board-certified cardiologist. I help people avoid heart attacks and strokes. My practice, Apollo Cardiology, located in St. Louis, Missouri, has been open since 2019, and we work with patients from all over the country and actually the world. I've had a few individuals from Australia fly and see us this year to get their non-invasive cardiovascular screening with us, to work with us to become heart attack proof. So if you're interested in that type of one-on-one care with me, I still do have some availability, but I'm booking out 3 to 4 months into the future. So go to my website, drtwyman.com, and click on the application link, and my team will get in touch with you and make sure that we can help you for whatever your cardiovascular concerns are. So there's only a few questions tonight. So if you have one, drop one in the comments and you'll definitely get it answered tonight. All the archives of these recordings for the past few months have gone to my YouTube channel, which is just drtwyman.tv, or if you go to YouTube and just type my name, DRTWYMAN, you'll find my site. The previous Ask Me Anythings are there, and I'm using AI to summarize it and give some of the timestamps. So if you want to skip ahead, you'll be able to do that as well. So with that being said, let's jump right into the questions tonight and answer your questions for this week. So the first question tonight is, what are my thoughts on daily low-dose Tadalafil? So Tadalafil is a phosphodiesterase inhibitor initially used for erectile dysfunction. There are some off-label uses for it for pulmonary hypertension, was its initial indication, but the off-label uses for just systemic hypertension and then for just general well-being and vascular health, because nitric oxide is extremely important for vascular health. I talk about it often here on these channels and with my patients in my practice. But Tadalafil does not produce nitric oxide. It just keeps the nitric oxide around longer. This is why these medications don't always work for guys with erectile dysfunction. It's because they lack nitric oxide to begin with. How do you get nitric oxide? Well, as blood flows across your arteries, nitric oxide is released from the endothelium, which is the lining of the arteries. So exercise, one of the main benefits is the flow causes the glycocalyx to stimulate the endothelial to release nitric oxide. Nitrates through food sources such as green leafy vegetables and beets, they will break down in your saliva into nitrites. Your stomach acid will convert it to nitric oxide. Sun exposure with UVA spectrum light releases nitric oxide from the dermal pools in your skin. So think of it as filling a funnel with exercise, sun exposure, and eating nitrates. If you're getting nitric oxide into the system, Tadalafil keeps it around longer. Now, are there great long-term studies with Tadalafil in patients not for erectile dysfunction? Not really, but there's some promising information for patients with dementia, possibly. Because dementia in part is microvascular disease where you don't get enough oxygen nutrients into the brain tissues. So relatively low risk medication for many, but there are some side effects. It can cause some vision changes in some, significant headaches, migraine-like. Some people have chronic back pain with it and just do not tolerate it. So talk to your provider if you're interested and just make sure that there's no other contraindications not to be taking it. Question, any suggestions for specific beet products for nitric oxide? Beet it, B-E-E-T-I-T. It's a juice and it has 400 milligrams of nitrates in it. The original Super Beets product, that's a powder, also is beneficial. But any of the chews or the gummy types, I would avoid them, anything with sugar in them. What are my thoughts on the vagal nerve stimulators? I like the NeuroPro. I don't have any experience with that one, but big fan. The vagus nerve is extremely important in the cardiovascular world. I often talk about with my patients, sympathetic versus parasympathetic nervous system activation. Many people are really good at activating the sympathetic side. They're not so great at activating their vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is something that can be stimulated with deep breathing exercises. This is probably one of the benefits of meditation, is stimulating the vagus nerve. You can do box breathing. You can do biofeedback, like the HeartMath device for that. And then there's a whole host of companies coming out with vagal nerve stimulators. Stimulating the vagus nerve, it's anti-inflammatory, calms the nervous system down. So I think that's going to be the big biohack that will be at the longevity conference in a couple weeks in Las Vegas. Every year I go to the Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine's conference. I'm pretty good at predicting what the topic will be. A couple years ago I picked that would be photobiomodulation. There's multiple red light vendors there. Last year I knew it was going to be cold plunging, so there's cold plunge tubs and saunas. This year, there's been vagal nerve stimulators there before, but I suspect there'll be a lot more. And then I assume there's also going to be a ton of suppliers of creatine. But the vagal nerve stimulators don't have any specific experience with that particular product, but something that I would be interested in if people have issues with heart rate variability, which I know is one of the questions coming up. So what's the most effective way to increase heart rate variability? I don't know if there's just one way. The first is get to the root cause of why it might be low to begin with. But first off, make sure it's truly low. So if you think you have low HRV just because you're wearing a ring or a watch, you may not. So confirm with a chest strap. That is the gold standard. You need to measure the electrical activity coming off the heart to get a true accurate measurement of the RR interval coming off your EKG to be able to calculate the heart rate variability. Then if it's low, optimize your sleep. That's probably the most effective way. Grounding potentially helps. Vagal nerve stimulators could help. Avoid alcohol, avoid caffeine. Anything that increases your heart rate is going to lower your heart rate variability. And then the question, why does my heart pound at rest with a low heart rate? Most likely it's just you just have a large stroke volume. In that case, the heart had more time to fill, and you have a larger volume of blood being injected with each beat, and that's just something that you're sensing. Generally are not dangerous unless it's causing symptoms when you're physically active or if you're actually having chest pain, shortness of breath, or passing out. Those are the pre-submitted questions, so if any come up in the comment, I have an answer for you tonight while we're waiting for those. Want to let you know that I still am putting out content in my school community. This is not an ad. That there's a free 7-day trial if you were interested in checking it out. It's just drtwyman.com/school, and school spelled SKOOL. Have a group of kind of beta test members in there, and once a week we do a kind of poll, and whatever the topic that kind of rises to the top, I do a video on it, usually 5 to 10 minutes. If there's no clear winner, then it's kind of more of an extended form of Ask Me Anything like this, where I go a little bit more in depth to their questions. This week's questions were related to the cholesterol balance test the Boston Heart Lab does, so talking about hyperproduction of cholesterol, hyperabsorption of cholesterol, what are some best treatment options for it. Also talked about my recent experience giving a talk at the Silverback Summit where I discussed the Traverse trial, which was testosterone replacement therapy in men and the risk of cardiovascular disease. So did a whole video on that. So if you want my deep dives on particular topics, that's where they're being dropped right now. And so for each 7-day trial, if you're interested, maybe this can be a Black Friday sale if people want to check it out. And not this Friday, but the following. We do a live on Fridays, which is open-ended, but patients come on, or I should say more clients or people who are just interested in learning more, they come on. We use the actual app that the school developed where you can go live like this, but we've in the past used Zoom, so you can actually see somebody and have a back and forth conversation. So if you potentially one day kind of deeper dive on one of your topics, school is where to take a look at that. All right. So this might be short and sweet. I don't see any other questions, comments coming in tonight. I know you guys are probably getting ready for your holidays this week, so I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I will be back on Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time as always. So if you guys have any questions, concerns, just drop them in my comments. Happy to answer for you. In the interim, potentially check out my YouTube channel for any of the old archives. You can now use AI generated summaries to find questions that I haven't been answered here recently, but I usually have a lot of things that kind of rhyme in these Q&As. And then if you're interested in more of the deep dives, check out the school community. So have a great week, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving and see you next Monday.